up, fam? LDB back with another tutorial. I'm gonna show you guys how I work with entire songs as far as sampling. I don't just chop up bits and pieces of the song and then, throw it into my darn work with it. I like to start off with the whole entire song and get it stretched out to a certain tempo, kind of around the tempo I want to work with, and take it from there. That way I can use the bits and pieces of the whole entire sample, and I'm not just taking a bit and then working with that and going back and listening to the sample and figuring out, hey, I wish I could have used this piece, and then you got to redo everything over again. In Ableton, you don't have to do that. You don't have to settle for that. I'm sure it's probably the same way in a couple of other DAWs, but I know how sampling works in Ableton. So let me go down here, stretch this out a little bit. I know off the rip, this first part of the sample, the intro, is so gangster that I know I may want to work with it. And as you can hear, it's kind of already on tempo. But I need a turnaround, you know what I'm saying? I need a turnaround for that first part. And again, let me go back. Off the rip, this sample, the original tempo of this sample is like 106 BPM. And since I recorded it into Ableton from my DJ setup, I went ahead and adjusted the tempo to closer to a hip hop beat tempo. So I have less to have to do once I got it into Ableton. So just to let you guys know that the original tempo was 106 and I brought it down to like 98, 70, because I know, a hip hop beat, you need it would be anywhere between 89 and like 98. So that was a good starting point. But anyway, let's get back to the first part of this sample. Let me loop this first 3 bars. I'm gonna loop this section, and it's a pretty good loop point right here. But I don't want that cymbal in there. That's where I would want my cymbal drum, the drums that I'm gonna lay over this sample. That's where I would want my first hit to come in, where you hear that tsh, and me putting another one there. Like I said, it's not quite stretched out to where I want it. I at least want it at the 3rd bar that you can see right here. That's the 3rd bar where you see this 3 on the timeline. So easy in Ableton to get it there because of this warping feature that allows you to just mangle audio, to whatever you want to do with it, you can do it. It's a little more involved than just time stretching itself, and you will never have those artifacts, man, that you may get with some time stretching software. You just don't get that with Ableton. Since I know the cymbal is hitting about right here, I could just move this right now there, because basically what I did, I put a marker on the transient. But as you can hear now, and it kind of gets off beat when I do that. You can already hear it. It's off beat. So let me go back and take that away, because in order to maintain the tempo that you're hearing through the majority of this first 3 bars, again, I need to lock some things down. So since I know I want to move this transient marker in order to get my 3-bar loop, I need to lock this one down. When I lock that one down and then go to this one and move it, then I won't be adjusting it, messing with the sample. As far as the first 3 bars, they'll still be on the tempo, this 98.70. Hear that? And that little part at the end is okay, because my drum hit or my cymbal or my crash or whatever I decide to use right there is going to totally cover that up, because it's not as loud. So that'll be perfect for what I want to do. And then one of the things I do to go ahead and get this whole entire sample stretched out, I do it in 2-bar increments. So starting from this 3rd bar, I'm gonna loop that and listen to how it sounds. And I already can tell visually that it's gonna be a little off. It may not sound off, but it's gonna be a little off. So let's play it. See, I can already hear that it's off. Let me do something here. Let me warp straight from here. And that didn't work. So let's delete that. I think where I need to be is right here. That's where I need to start. Instead of starting on that 3rd measure, I think I need to start right there. Let's see. Yep, that's what I need to do. So let me do that. And one of the things I want to do is go ahead and right click and put set one, the first bar right there. Okay. Now let's go back and listen to the beginning to make sure I didn't tamper with the beginning of the sample. Okay, we're good. So now we can go back right here. Like I said, we're going to work in 2-bar increments from here. And as you can already hear, just by me doing that, it kind of brought it, because the thing that was throwing it off beat was that cymbal right here. It was kind of throwing it off, so I kind of went around that. And that's looping pretty good, but it's still off, I can tell. The end of those 2 bars, you want to end on the transient marker. So what you want to do is go to the closest transient marker to that 2-bar loop, which in this case will be this one right outside of the 2-bar loop. And all I got to do is bring it in, and it should line everything up. Alright, that sounds good. And what we're going to do is just going to keep moving in 2-bar increments throughout the entire song. That one sounds pretty good, but still, again, like I said, I want to get it on a transient marker, so I'll just go to the closest one. If this one was closest, I would move it to the right, but since it's one, there's one to the right of that second bar that's closest, I'm going to move that one. So lock that one down, move it in. Let's listen to it. Alright, and we're just going to keep going. 2-bar increments throughout the whole entire song. Again, you know, once you get used to it, you'll be able to tell. I mean, I'm just taking my time to show you guys right now, but I can already tell I need to get that transient marker lined up on that 7, which is 2 bars from 5. Even though it's looping, you know, it sounds pretty good. I know I won't still want to do that to get it even tighter. Keep going, 2-bar increments. And see, I'm not really messing with the transients within the 2 bars. That way I kind of keep the feel and the swing of the sample. And see, with this one, the closest transient marker is on the inside, so I'm going to go to this one. Like I said, it's the closest one, because if I brought this one in, the one on the outside, it would just throw the whole tempo of the sample off. Boom. Keep going throughout the whole entire song. Like I said, I'm not going to keep listening to it because I know what I'm doing now. Keep going. And see, during this time, you also listening to the sample, man. You listen to 2-bar loops of the entire song, and if you come up on a dope part, you already know what you are. Once you get this thing stretched out to the tempo you wanted at, you already know, all right, I'm chopping that part, I'm chopping this part, because that shit sounds dope. So this kind of gives you a way to really listen to the sample as well, add a tempo that you can work with. You can hear that one off. Now it's on 2-bar increment. increments. I wouldn't work with, you know, some songs you might have to increase or decrease the length of the loop, but 2 bars is a good place to start. Let me let you guys hear what we got so far. How it's basically, you know, rock solid as far as the tempo, as far as the metronome. First 25 bars of the song is lined up. Kind of got off right there, but again, I would chop this first part out and work with that on my own. So it's best to go to that first bar that I created, the new start here point, and do it, and it should be on tempo now. It was on tempo then, but it was off tempo because of, again, like I said, that one little crash right there that I had to do individually, and that's something you have to do because they didn't make this with a drum machine. This live musicians. Can already hear, where is that? I think it's at the 7th measure. All that da da da. You can definitely work with that as far as, you know, the main part of your sample, as far as what you're building from. But again, man, all you got to do is 2-bar increments throughout the entire song. And I do this a lot for like old school songs. I might want to do an old school set as far as me DJing, and you know, all the old school music, early 80s, you know, if you get into the 70s, you're doing a funk set at one of your DJ functions or whatever, and you know, you really gotta know how to DJ in order to mix that shit. And a good way to do it, as far as DJing that I found, I will throw my set, if I know I'm gonna do a 20 song set, funk set, old 70s funk set, at somebody hired me to DJ somewhere, and they doing a 70 setup or whatever. I just take all the songs that I'll pick out my songs, throw them into Ableton, and do this, what I'm doing right now, for like the first 15 or 20 bars of each song. You know what I'm saying? That way, at least when I mix it, I can mix it on the one, or mix it on the first hit, and this shit, they like, wow, how did you do that with that old school song? Ain't no way you're supposed to be able to mix like that with these kind of songs. This is a trick that I use. But anyway, warping whole entire songs in Ableton Live 8.2 is easy. You know, I know some cats be like, man, I can't get this to loop right, or I can't, you know, because of the way the sample is, you know, live musicianship, they didn't work like we work. So in order to get their music to sound good and how we do it, we got to mix and mangle and change. But see, I'm basically keeping the same sound of this sample, but I am, you know, changing the structure just a bit, but it's recognizable. And that's usually what you do when you flipping samples. You want it to be somewhat recognizable, but you still want to be able to work with it. And this is how you can do it in Ableton Live 8.2. Out.